Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're talking about a featherweight fight between Chase Hooper and Peter Barrett at UFC 256, Figueiredo versus Moreno. This fight is going to be very interesting. Chase Hooper is currently the 92nd best featherweight fighter in the world. Peter Barrett, I believe, is currently ranked 150th at featherweight worldwide. I believe Chase Hooper is currently 9-1-1. He has 9 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. His last fight was actually a loss, his first ever pro MMA loss to Alex Caceres by decision. Peter Barrett is currently 11-4, and his last loss as well was to Youssef Zalal by unanimous decision about 3.5 months ago. But Chase Hooper is a pretty big favorite to win this one, currently sitting around minus 400 as the heavy favorite to win this fight. Peter Barrett currently sitting around plus 310 as the moderate underdog. But Chase Hooper, he is definitely the much younger fighter, and definitely has the age advantage in this fight, as he is 21 years old. Peter Barrett is 34.5 years old, so a definite age advantage for Chase Hooper in this fight. Also, Chase Hooper is 6 foot 1 inch tall, 3 inches taller than Peter Barrett, as Peter Barrett is only 5 foot 10 inches tall. Chase Hooper also has the reach advantage, as he has a reach of 75.5 inches compared to the reach of Peter Barrett, which is only 73 inches. So Chase Hooper definitely has the height, reach, and age advantage in this fight. Alright guys, so as I said at the beginning of this video, Chase Hooper is currently the minus 400, a heavy favorite to win this fight. Peter Barrett is a plus 310 moderate underdog. And if you go over to the Tapology predictions for this fight, out of 1,600, almost 1,700 different votes, almost 90% of those votes are going for Chase Hooper to win this fight, mainly by submission, but then some people do think he's going to get the win by unanimous decision, and then some people actually have him winning the fight by knockout. I think it's more likely that it's going to be a submission or a decision win for Chase Hooper rather than a knockout in this fight. But the 13% of the votes that are going for Peter Barrett to win the fight, most of those are by unanimous decision, and then some say he's going to get the win by knockout, and literally no one says that Peter Barrett's going to get a submission. I really doubt Peter Barrett's going to get a submission in this one. I really think it's either going to be a unanimous decision win for Peter Barrett in this one, or a submission or decision win for Chase Hooper in this fight. Alright guys, now let's take a look at Chase Hooper's record. I mean, in his amateur career, he did very good, with every single one of his amateur wins coming by first round of finish. That was back in 2016 and 2017. In his first amateur fight, he ended up getting a first-round knockout over Patrick Harris, followed by a first-round submission win over Luke Main by rear naked choke submission. And then he got 2 guillotine choke submissions in the first round over Byron Ferrandez Jr. and Gurpil Sahota. And in his last amateur fight, which was his 5th win as an amateur fighter, he got a first-round rear naked choke submission win over Jorge Alcaca. At that point, he was 5-0 as an amateur, 4 of the wins coming by submission in the first round, 1 coming by first-round knockout. And that's where he decided to become a pro in 2017, I believe in August or September, somewhere around there. And in his first ever pro MMA fight, he got a second-round rear naked choke submission win over Edson Penado, and a first-round knockout over Sean Solis, followed by a first-round triangle choke submission and a unanimous decision win, and then a second-round rear naked choke submission. And at that point, he was 5-0 as a pro MMA fighter. And then Dana White's Contender Series was like, alright, it's 2018, let's invite this guy that really looks like my high school math teacher to Dana White's Contender Series and see what he's got against undefeated Kaynan Kawali. And he did very good, as he absolutely dominated that fight for 3 straight rounds, getting a unanimous decision win in that fight. But the UFC did not give him a shot inside the UFC after that one, even though he won the fight by unanimous decision, because back in 2018, they really wanted everyone to get finishes on the Contender Series if they wanted to get inside the UFC, and he did get a finish, so he did not get that shot to go inside the UFC, and went back to CFFC, where he ended up getting a draw to LaShawn Alcox, followed by a second-round TKO win, and then a first-round rear naked choke submission win over Luis Gomez in Titan FC at Titan FC 55, finally getting that shot inside the UFC, where at that point he was 8-0-1, and in his first fight inside the UFC, he ended up fighting Daniel Tamor. He got a first-round TKO win at the end of 2019 over Daniel Tamor, but in his next fight in 2020, I believe back in June, ended up fighting a very good veteran fighter in Alex Caceres, and ended up getting his first ever loss by unanimous decision. I remember predicting this fight, really in my mind, thinking that Alex Caceres would win the fight, just because he has so so much experience. At that time, Alex Caceres was 15-12. So much experience facing such high-tier competition in the featherweight division. That was just Chase Hooper's really big test inside the UFC, and it's gonna teach him a lot for this fight against Peter Barrett. And I mean, Peter Barrett, he's a much different fighter than Alex Caceres, but Chase Hooper can definitely learn a lot from that last loss to Alex Caceres. So I mean, if you look at Peter Barrett's record, 11-4, it's a pretty good record for this featherweight division. And he actually started his career back in 2014, and he did very, very good at the beginning of his career, getting a finish in basically every single one of his first fights. He started with a third-round knockout, a first-round knockout, another first-round knockout over Luis Torres, a first-round guillotine choke submission, a first-round TKO over Keenan Raymond, a first-round knockout over Jeff Anderson, a second-round body kick KO over Jeremy Davis, and then a unanimous decision win. But in his next fight against Drew Morales, ended up losing his first ever pro MMA fight by first-round KO. Lost his next fight as well to TJ Brown by third-round arm triangle choke submission. Came back after that with a first-round rear naked choke submission win over Jay Ellis. Lost his next fight by first-round armbar submission over Connor Berry. Then got a win by first-round knockout over Zach DiSabantino. And then got a shot on Dana White's Contender Series in 2019 against Sang Hoon Yu, where he ended up winning the fight by unanimous decision. Sang Yoon Hu was actually undefeated at the time, and he did very, very good in that fight, getting him a shot inside the UFC. But in his first fight inside the UFC, he fought an absolute beast in Youssef Zalal, who at the time I believe was on a 3-fight win streak just in 2020 alone. And he ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision, and looks to come back with a win here against Chase Hooper at UFC 256. This should be a very, very good fight. But the thing that has me a little bit interested with Chase Hooper in this one is the height and reach advantage. We all know him as a grappler, but he could definitely mix it up on the feet as well against a guy like Peter Barrett. But I mean, Chase Hooper, in my opinion, I think he should do exactly what Youssef Zalal did to Peter Barrett in their last fight. Just go for takedown after takedown after takedown. Get in a lot of clinch positions with Peter Barrett. Keep the fight on the cage, and midway through every single one of those rounds, go for that takedown, and then control the fight on the ground for the rest of the round. Go for some submissions as well. But if Chase Hooper does manage to do that, get some takedowns, go for those submissions through the first, second, and third round in this fight, I think Chase Hooper will have no problem whatsoever dominating this fight and getting all the judges' scorecards to get him the win, 30-27, unanimous decision. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching that video. If you agree with my prediction or if you disagree with my prediction, I don't really care. Put your predictions in the comment section below. I would love to see what you guys think is going to happen in this fight. There's only 10 fights on this fight card, which is a little bit disappointing considering it is a pay-per-view. And the next fight card that's coming after is not even a pay-per-view, and it has much more fights on that card. But still, it's a pretty good card altogether. Chase Hooper, Peter Barrett, the first fight of the night should be a very good one. I have Chase Hooper winning by unanimous decision. Who do you guys think is going to win this one? Put that in the comment section below. Make sure to like this video if you do like the video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the absolute best MMA content out there. Turn on post notifications as well. I post videos almost every single day, so hit that subscribe button. It's been a fun video. I'm out of here.